And the way I think about Trump often is I think about him as sort of like as either a mold or a virus or a fungus, something that gets into the cracks and
Yep,
spreads and then spreads the cracks further, cracks that might have
yep,
been like minuscule or imperceptible
yep,
to the naked eye. And he
yep,
has a specific talent for finding those little fissures and cracks, particularly in our institutions and inhabiting those spaces and then just breaking them wide open,
yeah,
places that others who have gone before him either didn't see as opportunities, didn't see at all, or certainly wouldn't have taken the opportunity to expose those cracks and
yep.
fissures in art. And one of those, obviously, is that there is this question as to whether or not a sitting president, or in this case, a candidate for the office he once tried to steal, is in fact above the law, or if they are
Hmm.
not. And that is he's
Right.
again, that's another talent of his. He's really good at bringing up these questions, these constitutional questions, these crazy questions that no one else has managed really to bring up before. So that's a question.
Yeah, I mean, it's the number of shifting explanations of his for regarding the Mar-a-Lago documents. It's been kind of it would be hilarious if it weren't so scary. That's a lot of this comes off as comical, except when you have to think too hard about what those documents represent. They represented, uh, military missions. They represented people. They represented spies and informants and other human intelligence sources that have potentially now been compromised. Uh, it's literally the key elements of our national security at stake. But yeah, to go to like the question marks that he's tried to raise around these laws, the laws are actually pretty clear cut because we went through this.
Mm-hmm.
Because Nixon tried to run off with a bunch of documents post Watergate, and we actually had to, and then he tried to sell them to
Mm-hmm.
make money. And then after, in the wake of all of that, is when we passed the Presidential Records Act, and laws are often not that well written about what they actually are trying to get at. And the PRA is not one of those. It's one where it actually says flat out like what the law is there, where it says that those records belong to the United States, not to the president. It's very, very clear. So any wiggle room that he's trying to create there, he's trying to create it, but it's all based on legal fiction. None of that is true. There is no universe in which he gets to keep these records afterwards. He's allowed to keep his personal effects, but the idea that he's going to be able to say that something that was, even if it wasn't classified, there are documents that then they have like the letterhead. Those aren't personal. If it's got the White House letterhead on it, that's not personal anymore. It was not a memento. It's not like, oh hey, Angela Merkel gave me this like plate or like a little like figurine at a dinner. Oh she wrote me a personal note on a napkin and it was funny and so I kept it. Like great, but there's no universe in which that's what he's doing. He's taking documents that were official memos, and many of them were classified, and then he kept those, and he knows exactly what they are. They're very clear on their face what they are. We have that recording of him where he makes it clear to other people that were with him at Bedminster that he had at least this one record that was a blueprint for a military strike on Iran, that he knew was classified, and he knew he shouldn't have had it, and he knew he had it anyway, and he was showing it off to people, but also being a little bit coy about it, where he's like, I should show you, but I shouldn't show you. It's, it, there's no question here about a lot of the criminal intent here, and then he's trying to kind of wish it all away by saying that the law says something that it doesn't say.